Last night he said.
Tell them we're live.
Welcome everyone to the Davis County Council meeting on June the 10th, 2026. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance.
United States, the republic for which it stands, under God, indivisible, justice for all.
Just for the record, everyone here, Matt Meredith is on the phone, so he's listening and in attendance. Start with meeting minutes from May the 13th, 2026. If you had a chance to look at them, any errors, additions, corrections, if not, a motion to approve.
So moved.
So moved. I didn't look. Who was it?
Tom?
Tom. Second by Mike. Sprinkle. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Pose the same sign, Matt?
Yes, aye.
Okay. Abatements. We're gonna, 13 of them here, we're gonna do them a little different. We're going to do One-Way Technologies, and then client personal, client real, GPC personal, Westgate 1, Kratos Defense, Maysville, Westgate, and RTC all together. And the reasoning for that, those are all done, and the other three have some issues, which we're gonna talk about secondly. So we're gonna do those 10 all in one motion. We've all had them in there to look. Anybody got any questions, comments?
They look good. Good job.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Mike Sprinkle.
Second.
Second by Marilyn. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All same sign.
Aye.
Next then, the JBR rentals. We will do it separately because I can't vote on that, so,
I think there's some information missing on that one, isn't there? I didn't get a I got a note, email from Crystal saying it was incomplete and that we needed to wait on it.
I believe that got put in this morning, so they were unable to read the documentation that was submitted under their 103 forms, and so that it was located and verified, and we just got it in there this morning. They got it to us last night, late, after hours.
Is it in there right now?
It is there right now, so if you need to take a minute, yep.
I see it.
It's close then, right?
Yeah, it is. It's very
Okay.
close. Make a motion to approve?
I'll second it.
motion by Marilyn, second by Tom. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
I abstain. Next, we'll do Graber Post. The reason for that, for Matt's place of employment. So, a motion to approve the Graber Post continuation.
Has that one been updated also?
I will abstain from that. Tom, what do you mean updated there?
I don't know. There was an email last night, and I looked in there. There was no SB1 attached to the real properties one.
Let me look, it should have been.
Well,
Said GPC has not filed their CF1 this year for the real estate abatement.
Graber Post, yeah, that's
Graber-
GPC, not Graber
yeah,
Post.
that's GPC.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can move to approve that one then.
Graber Post.
Yes.
Yes.
Second.
Motion by Tom, second by Mike Sprinkle. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, and Matt abstained.
I abstain, yes.
Next, the GPC Real. That's the one we need to pass on.
Correct, because we have not received paperwork. Crystal has reached out to Kevin, and they have reached out to their accountant to try to get that. This would be the first year for that. She has picked up the AV, but we have not received their paperwork.
I know what you're thinking. All right, we'll pass on that. We already did West Kratos. The same thing is enhanced. Crystal's given him a 30-day extension to June 15th to get that in, so we will pass and not take action on that one. And we did already Maysville, Westgate, and RTC.
Yes.
Any corrections, comments on the abatements?
Do you want anything for the GPC and the enhanced as a motion for us to bring this back to you at the next meeting to verify or how this is?
Yes,
Motion to table those two till the next meeting?
yes.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Matt. Second. Second by Mike Myers. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, done with the abatements. Next up, West Boggs.
Good
Morning.
morning. We got an extra.
When you're done, we want an extra one. We'll have her put it in Matt's mailbox.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. All right, good morning, everybody. I thought we'd start with the good news. So, had some exciting updates for the LWCF grant. So, as I shared with the commissioners yesterday, the Land Water Conservation Fund helped build the park between 68 and 72. So that is a federal program that helps community parks like ours. They do have a grant program that's typically open every year. However, last year it was closed. So there was no indication of that coming, nor was there any thoughts of when that might open again. Fortunately, I got an email this spring that said that was open for us, which is very important. So that's a 50-50 grant match. It's not something we can apply for every year. They do have stipulations. It's not like you can get awarded routinely. So we want to make it efficient as possible and do the full-scale project. They allow projects between $250,000 and $2 million, and again, it's a 50-50 match. So if we raise $1 million, we can do a $2 million project, which I think would totally transform the park. I gave you guys an overview on your packet there. Kind of goes over the park, what the grant is, and then some things that we're looking to do. The main things to note would be a new office and 3 new bathrooms is really what we're shooting for. The DNR really wants us to do, I would say, recreation-based improvements. However, some meetings with them, they understand that our office has been leaking for 20 years. The bathrooms are, from the 70s. These structures need replaced in order to serve the public. Placer AI has been extremely helpful in all this. I usually lead with that when doing a presentation, and they're just shocked to see the numbers of people going into the park, that we can prove that more people are coming into the park, individual visitors, that both counties combined, and so forth, so they see the need to facilitate some better structures in our park. Working with a lot of local construction and contractors. However, we're also looking at different bathrooms that are prefab. It's turning out, I don't want to share numbers because these bids are still kind of closed, but it appears that our local community partners can do a lot cheaper work than we can like a prefab bathroom. So it seems like a lot of state parks or something, they would go for the prefab and then they just bring it in. We obviously have a lot of builders around here, so I think people are wanting to help. So I did include some pictures of the office, which as you thumb through, I've got a kind of front view. This is from Graber Post, and then kind of an overhead view. This will be really nice for us. We're in desperate need of a meeting room. It'll be really good for a lot of reasons, for board meetings and so forth. We have a lot of organizations that come in and do work in the park, such as the invasive species, and folks like that would love to have a meeting room. In addition to that, we'll have an office. I don't have an office right now. We have moved out of the old dilapidated office due to mold and water into a shelter. So we desperately do need a new office facility. The following page I'm pretty excited about is a peninsula. The bottom photo is actually that peninsula where the current rental trailers are. Those are now for sale due to dilapidation. And then I've created this on AI. So this is a nice new campground loop. Really taking the topography into play here. As you see, there's kind of like an open space there in the middle left. There's a big low spot there. We can't do anything inside a floodplain. So this is very close to what it'll actually be. Directly at the end of that peninsula is an incredibly popular fishing spot. On the next page, you can see what that is. The bottom photo is actually real. It's a jetty that kind of juts out from that peninsula and kind of safeguards our boat harbor there. Extremely common fishing spot. As I said, there's kids, folks out there all the time. They're scrambling across the riprap. So I think that paving this and then putting some pole holders and a fence there will be really nice. I think folks can safely walk out and that'll get an extreme amount of use. So I wanted to include that. In addition, we're looking at shade sails, pickleball, new volleyball, kind of doing some upgrades around the beach. And fundraising has gone really well. So I was actually shocked a couple weeks ago. I went over to the RDC in Martin County, and did you guys get that letter, by the way?
Yes.
I was going to say I have a copy. So they've offered $100,000 in match, or up to $200,000 if you guys match that, anywhere in that number. And of course, any number is okay. We're shooting for $1 million in match. So I guess before we move forward, oh yeah, the restrooms, we're looking at the number 3, so that larger restroom on the last page here. As you look on the right side, those showers are going to be really useful for us. We literally get thousands of complaints on our bathrooms. That we've got close to 500,000 visitors and we don't have hardly any showers. The bathrooms are really old. Just clean them, but we can't fix them. This will allow service more, seasonally. We can, be open later in the fall. We can then close off that shower area since it's separate, and then we'll have radiant floor heat. So I think this will be a lot better to serve our public. Any questions on the grant itself?
Not on the grant itself, but where does the waste go from those? I mean, you on a sewer system out there?
We are, yep. There's a main sewer that runs out from Pine Tree Road through the park and then over to the sewage plant. To be honest with you, everything's dilapidated. Just yesterday we dug a 9-foot hole and fixed piping, and there's leaks constantly. We're losing about 4,500 gallons a day. There's a lot of lift stations in the park, so we're constantly battling, getting new lift pumps, and not to get too into detail, but the flushable wipes lately have been a huge issue. They're balling up and getting inside those pumps.
So
Those
like
pumps are like 24 grand.
the new bathrooms are just part of it then, because you gotta have an infrastructure project sooner or later, I guess, you're saying.
Correct. Yeah, this will help a lot.
But does the park own the sewage line and the sewage?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep, we do. Lagodi pays part of it since they hooked up Pine Tree Road through the park as well. But a lot of it's just been repaired poorly. Like if you look around the park, I've kind of noted some of the dilapidation above ground, but below ground it's the same. So there's clay tiles where there shouldn't be, there's roots going in, there's pipes that have been fixed incorrectly, they're glued where they should have some flex, and now they're breaking underground. It's hard to find everything, it wasn't all mapped right. There's always surprises. Not to get in the weeds, but last year we dug up a trade car. No reason, it was just under the ground. So, things like that can kind of make holes and things and cause danger. So, no telling what'll be under the ground when we do that campground. We want to contribute $355,000 over the next 2 years out of park funds. So if I'm not mistaken, I think you guys would have to give that blessing. How this works is it's a commitment letter. It would come out of the general fund, and then we don't really owe that money up front. It's just saying that we're committing that over the duration of the project. So similar to you guys, if you choose to give. It doesn't have to be set aside, specifically. They just need to know that it's ready and available if we do the project over 2 years. The projects will be chunked out. I don't know exactly how it'll work. I've talked to Great Post about it. They can do all 3 bathrooms in 4 months, but I just kind of doubt we can bounce all that at one time, depending on how matches go. But that would certainly stress the park to do. The office is a little easier because I don't think we have to do that in the winter. Bathrooms, I think, have to be done in the winter. Office can be done anytime. Do you guys have any questions regarding, I guess, our match?
So the grant is $1 million.
It can be. So it's
Can be.
minimum projects are $250,000 to $2 million.
You get-
We raise as much as we can. I think we can spend, very well up to that, without doing any frills or extras.
With your commitment letter and payable over 2 years, Martin County, 200,000,
The
Davis
RDC,
County,
10,000.
200,000, and the park, 355.
355.
That's 755, so then you need to raise $250,000 in.
Mhm. Yep, and I've talked to Martin County Community Foundation. It's likely they're interested. Davies County Community Foundation also likely interested. I'm reaching out to really anyone I can.
How long a time do you have to raise that?
The sooner the better. We set a date of July 15th is the absolute latest. It's due August 1st, but we have to have everything done before then. This is a very difficult grant, I would say. There's like a task list of 30-some things that we have to work through. This isn't like a straightforward, easy one. So we need to have everything dialed in prior to then, including all of our bids And it's, as I said yesterday, kind of difficult if I don't have any idea how much money we have to waste the bids. So I'm seeking answers as soon as possible, but, you know, certainly will not turn anything down and appreciate anything that anybody can give up to that date.
When is our meeting in July? All right. Our meeting in July is on the 10th, so we're,
Okay?
not to say the decision can't be made today, but there is.
Sure.
And Martin County, obviously, I'm reading Dave Lett's letter, they're committed. If we match, they're committed.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I was shocked. Like a park changing kind of thing. It's really cool. So, no guarantee we'll get this grant. I think it's likely. I mean, if we have all these different partners and entities applying, you know, I've had meetings with the DNR, they like our project, so it's a high-use park in an underserved area. So I'd say that it's likely.
And you have to have the grant in by August 1st. When do you hear whether you did or did not?
Let's see, so I think we'll get state announcement, it's on the second page there. State announcement will come in December, we're thinking. They don't have all this really listed on their website. It's always kind of been that way, they just sort of open the grant unofficially. We expect to hear state award announcement in December. Federal review process is in January of '27. However, they don't disclose how long that is. So federal review, I'm assuming, will take a few months. We're guessing by March, we have environmental review, engineering and final designs, which we're pretty dialed in on our end, so I don't think that'll be difficult. Then bid process and contractor procurement will finish in April. Construction start, we're thinking July of '27. So that would then, unfortunately, have to be just the office and some of the other stuff. I don't think we can replace bathrooms.
Worst case scenario, if you do not receive the grant, does Martin County still commit 200 and Davis County still 200?
I've not really had that conversation. I'm not
Okay.
sure.
You're taking the high road all the way, so.
Well, kind of. I think the pitch is that it can be matched.
Okay.
I think that, you know, maybe we should revisit that. I almost don't know that that's a good idea for maybe the grant folks to hear,
Yep.
that I think it's more efficient for us to seek the grants on purpose, but, you know, we as a park would probably contribute for a new bathroom or an office because we have to, regardless of if we get it or not. You know,
Questions
things may
for,
just descaled, smaller, not as nice. But that,
questions for Nathan, or table that to next month? Do you want to discuss it, or what do you want to do?
Is that something we could do with the riverboat account? That's non-taxpayer money?
How much is in that today?
We have a 691,000 in there.
What's in that packet?
not to interrupt, I imagine there could be an up to as well, like maybe you guys say a number and then maybe some of these other foundations contribute, and then we really don't, I think, want to go over 2 million because we only get matched up to $1 million. So that's another option, just as you guys are thinking, you know, you could say a number and then maybe as I chip away at other entities, if they want to contribute, you know, maybe that number grows lower. Or if you want the park to pay less or whatever might work for you.
Economic impact there is just amazing for the county. Over $18 million a year, that's a lot.
So your ask for us is around 200,000?
I don't have a cap, but no, Martin is offering a match of 200,000, and then that will be again matched by the government. So
That was a good answer, by the way.
Just me personally, I think we can find the funds to match what Martin County's willing to do and help move this project along.
I agree with Mike.
Yeah, I agree too. It's glad to see Martin County step up like that. We've had,
Yeah.
over the years I've been on there, we've had situations, we've dragged other counties to work with us and stuff financially and gotten very little. So for them to step up like that is huge.
All you're looking is a letter from us on a commitment. We don't have
Yeah,
to
and I don't
decide
need
where
that
we're
right away.
taking it or anything now.
we'll
anyway.
get you an example or whatever. But yeah, that's it. Just on a letterhead, that'd be fine.
So was that a motion, Mike?
Yep, that's a motion.
Motion second by Darren. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All right.
Fantastic, guys. Thank
Both same sign. Very good.
All right, awesome. I think that'll be great for us all. Wanted to talk about our longevity policy. So I don't really have paperwork on this. I think this has been a policy for the park for a very long time, more than 20 years, I believe. As I understand it, we get paid out 7% of our gross pay and that is in lieu of retirement. We don't get perf at the park, so that's expected to be saved then and used for retirement. Typically, retirement, you don't necessarily give that back if you were to retire before the end of the year. The way the park's set up, you don't get any of that if you leave on even November. So you could potentially work for the park for 30 years, retire in November, you don't get that year's bonus because you left before December. Consequently, over the years, there's been a number of issues where people kind of slack off at the end. They know they're leaving. Maybe they try to get fired. Maybe they try to stay, to get, unemployment. Maybe they try to stay to make sure they get that 7%. So that's caused some issues, I know, in the past with a number of people, as well as the park board just didn't think that was fair. So they voted a good while back to change that and allow that 7% to be paid prorated regardless of situation, because it's in lieu of retirement. So I don't personally care if you get fired, even don't do a good job. That is part of your pay, in my opinion, especially noting the folks that do a good job, retire, quit, or leave with notice. I don't really see a reason to penalize them, before the year's out. So we were hoping to change that. I believe you guys need to make sure that that policy goes through as well. Is that accurate, or that went through with the
So he
commissioners?
presented this to commissioners, so the commissioners will have to discuss, and we're going to get with them. So if the commissioners were to approve it, then it will come to you for the backing of the funding.
Okay. So would I present again or no on that? Okay, perfect.
Only the funding side if it passes through commissioners.
Okay. All right. And then I've got some amendments here. I think you guys are pretty aware of this. Jen hired Addie Roker as an HR consultant. This is a similar situation where we had an internal policy in the park that the board passed some time ago and then was not properly moved through the channels here because I don't think any of us knew to do that. This is stating essentially that folks can save some hours in the summer. I'll use 4th of July as an example. It's not uncommon for our staff to be working 60 hours a week on salary with no pay for the overtime, so we were hoping to kind of shift some of that into the winter. It's still, people are still working free overtime, they're working extra hours. It's just allowing them to save up to 80 hours for the winter was how that would work. So I believe they passed that yesterday, which is great. However, there were some hiccups. Me, for example, the board wanted me to come before you and ask about this because Addie, the consultant, said it was okay. I lost my 80, so I looked this morning. I worked over 900 hours of overtime for free since I've started. Last year was hoping to save some of that and then use it in the winter time, and then I got an email back saying, no, you can't do that. And now that is legal again. So it's very difficult for me to take vacation. The park was in pretty rough shape. I think we're kind of moving in the right direction now, getting better staffing and so forth. But taking time off was pretty hard the past few years. So, I've got a lot of time that I'm going to be giving away to this year, unfortunately, because I can't use the vacation that I've saved. But hopefully I can still, bank some of these. But the board wanted me to ask you guys to pay me out the 2 weeks that were taken back. So again, I've got over 900 hours of overtime and accumulated in total unpaid. Last year, the board had voted for me to keep 80. I was not able to use that as vacation, so they wanted to pay out of that, so it would be 2 weeks of my salary. In addition to that, you guys are fully aware of Debbie's situation and our office manager. It's similar. That number is far greater. It sounds like Jen needs to talk with Addie a little bit about that to get some clarification on a couple things, but that'll need paid out as well. That one's, I don't think, optional. Mine is.
So again, this is to do with a policy piece, and it went before commissioners. This did not pass yesterday. We're supposed to be checking into a few more things and checking on some stuff. Addie with Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy, we did be in contact with them to get some clarification, because it looks like some exempt versus non-exempt statuses of the employment out there was in question, because that is up to you guys as a board for their position. So she did create new job descriptions based off of their jobs out there, and Nathan's position is the only one that is considered an exempt position. So everyone else is clearly hourly. So there's some things that we need to verify with her before we can get those corrections made to verify how much that would actually be.
Gate manager's salary too, yeah?
I'm sorry?
Isn't the gate manager exempt as well?
Everyone is salary and is in the non-exempt status except for you.
Okay. Huh. assistant as well?
Yes. In the
Oh, so
email that
there you
Addie
go.
sent us, yes.
Yeah, I'll have to check that.
Yeah.
And who
I-
is that?
And so I've shared some stuff with Grant yesterday, and I'll be getting with Grant to try to clarify some of the final pieces.
Yeah. Jen, who is Addie?
Addie Roker is our HR firm that we have as a consultant that helps our office with any type of HR
Okay,
situations.
okay.
Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy.
Okay.
That's also who does our handbook.
So we just need to wait, basically? Yeah? Okay. Gotcha. I do have mine. I knew we had to wait on Debbie's, but mine seemed a little more straightforward. Okay, so that moves us into some changes for the budget proposed. You guys are fully aware of the office situation, how we're basically writing a blank check for overtime. I really need that position, so there was a number of emails to the board kind of showcasing what's going on, and then we had a special meeting that was like 3 hours on April 20th. Then the next board meeting, they officially made that position. I emailed the auditors a number of things, for the commissioners and council that did not make the list, I guess, yesterday for them. They were not aware that that position was going to need created. They said that was the first they've heard of it. However, we're, not only writing overtime, we're not able to get the job done within 80 hours. To put some context into that, I think there's been issues for many years. In fact, we have a new board member that worked in the office in the past, and she said that that job is not possible to do in those hours, was her thoughts as well.
Is that full-time or seasonal?
No, she's full-time. Yeah, she's been here about 22 years or so.
No, the one you're wanting to.
It would be full-time. Now, there's a number of ways to deal with this. You can 1099 someone to come in and fix everything up, work, get things moved to QuickBooks or Lao or whatever we want to do. But then that person's going to leave, and then my office manager retires and no one knows her job. So the way that things have been set up in the past, not to get too far into detail, it's her system. So, which is great. She came in a long time ago, set up everything on Excel. No one else has ever had access to this stuff. It's not what we need. So we need better transparency, a better system, more efficiency, better accuracy, as well as actually just getting the job done in those hours. And now we have to pay the overtime. So I'm not seeing really any other way to do this correctly, especially since she's going to be retiring. Someone really is going to take some time to have to learn that job. It's not something you can just come into in a day. It's going to take the better part of a year, I think. So that would be the reasoning. Again, as I explained, I don't necessarily need that to stay. Depends on how big the park grows, but right now I think it could be ran with 2 if the systems and everything were done correctly and efficiently, and we're not moving offices multiple times a year and all the other outliers that happen. So the park board voted a salary of $58,000, and then plus the benefits for that would be what we're after. So I don't know the order of how that goes. My boss told me to tell you guys about it today. You maybe approved the money, then they approved the position, was what I was asked last night.
And typically, the commissioners have to approve the position first and then the funding. So he did speak on it yesterday, and there's some information that the commissioners are still wanting to gather before they make the determination.
Because you did brief us on that previously, but I guess obviously commissioners didn't get briefed. Is that the case? So, I
think it had to pass through the park board. It's kind of just the way things fell. There was a missing commissioners meeting, I think, the last one, and then it was just kind of the way things went. But yeah, I'm trying to get my absolute first opportunity. As I said, we don't really have a lot of special meetings, and this was important enough to have one. I think there's been 1 or 2 since I've been in the park.
I guess, first logical question, you're not receiving taxpayers' dollars. Can you afford it?
Yes. Yeah, there's a number of reasons why I can't. Bear with me here. First things to note, I guess there was a lot of low-hanging fruit. A lot of leases haven't been done since 20 years ago. Those have been redone. That's tens of thousands of dollars. I took away a ton of discounts that were unnecessary for like the seasonal program without even raising fees. That resulted in well more than $50,000. There hasn't been a lot of increases on rates. I still really don't want to raise rates much, but we did a few things here and there. For instance, the seasonal program was way under market value, I would say, like way under. A lot of people actually were storing campers cheaper than what they could we're in a yearly site at the park, so that's going up 10%. That's going to result in tens of thousands. Let's see. Daily camping, we're increasing weekends by $5. Holidays are increasing by 10. Landowners increased $50. They're 150 to now 200. In addition to that, we're just running way more efficiently. The gate system alone is many tens of thousands of dollars. Just switching without any extra fees to anybody, just doing things efficiently results in way more than one
This on
person's
the
salary.
commissioners' agenda next month, next meeting? The reason I ask, I don't know how soon you need to make a decision,
Yeah,
but we're obviously getting, and if we're not into the summer months, we only meet monthly. If they do something in 2 weeks, do we wait another 2 weeks to come back to us? Or can we approve this pending what the commissioners say? That way, that gives you 2 weeks quicker, 2.5 weeks quicker.
To answer your question, Tony, I sent emails and found it to be desperate several months ago. So as soon as possible, type of thing.
How's attendance so far this year at the park?
I don't have it offhand. It's solid. We've been selling out every single weekend. So it's pretty good. I don't have the Placer AI numbers, but yeah, it's good. I think we had 313,000 last year.
Of your revenue, that's gotta be the top thing, I guess, right?
Believe it or not, it's not. Camping, $7 a car just really doesn't get us much.
Okay.
And in fact, I think there's a lot of folks that we actually lose money on.
Is that right?
Well, you don't have to do much. You make one rut, you're paying $7 to come in. My guys have to fix that for half a day. That's just one example of tens of thousands. We get a lot of vandalism from kids, and so no, I wouldn't say that the daily gates make us that much money.
Okay.
Even on 4th of July, like I set $13,000 on fire in the sky, and that burns everybody's money coming in the gate that day.
I see.
Camping is really where we make our money.
All right, good.
That's why I'm excited about this new loop. I think that's another thing to note. That's going to make over $100,000 a year. So we sell out every site all the time on the water. During the weekdays, we don't sell out away from the water. So if we make a new loop, on the water edge where we're not really taking away anything from the public, I think that'll help with revenue as well. But the main thing is just running efficiently. Having a gate system that makes sense for us, doesn't charge by month. I went over that a couple years ago. Things like that are huge. So those are absolutely new people in the park. I think we've been pretty understaffed in the past, just the way the park's been running itself. I think that having upper management with their ability to do stuff that they want to do, or see the broader aspects of things, $2 million grant, going out fundraising, getting out of daily operations a little bit, I think is much better for opportunity cost. So I don't think we're losing by adding people is what I'm saying.
You're adding people, but you've also raised salaries here in the last couple of years, which hopefully will help your turnover. I know you have a significant turnover in your activities, and
Yep.
Obviously, when you're turning people over all the time, it's not efficient. And
It's brutal.
Yeah.
That activity shop in particular really needs to be planned out a year ahead. So we're just not getting that. We're consistently losing someone, and the opportunity cost there is hundreds of thousands. So I actually do have a couple more other things that I was hoping to change this year. I know you guys don't like it, but we're just changing so much that, things need to evolve more than once a year. Do you guys have any questions then on the office job?
The only question I got, kind of, Jen, they're talking about changing software and this and that, is when they make these changes, do you have a suggestion that would help you when you're doing all?
We've been working with IT because they have a viewable or they can view and have certain stuff to be able to submit stuff to us, but due to their location, Dale's working through some of the logistics to be able to utilize ours, just like an online banking system that we do with our departments in-house within our buildings, that they can get on the server and access this stuff. So due to them and the highway department, there's an issue there with trying to utilize it. But State Board, I think, has been a part of some of these conversations, and they've questioned it, and they can't tell them one way or another because they have to stay neutral between different softwares and different things. We've questioned our software that we use, if they have like a departmental thing for a type of unit like this, and they don't. It's for the whole county side of it. So I know that other places use QuickBooks or they have their own mechanisms, as long as State Board has the things that they have to have for their receipts and disbursements, and they can show the stuff on their end to balance with us, that's all that they ask. So as long as they hit those stipulations, it's up to them to do whatever, or to buy whatever it is that they want to use. So, and State Board's never taken exception to their Excel spreadsheets, based, you know, for how they've been managing it. They've been able to prove what they needed to.
I was just curious if there was something that would help simplify what you have to do with the accounting end of it for State Board of Accounts.
No, because it's just their own self-balancing. And then once they turn stuff into us, I mean, it's just like the bank, we balance, they should be balancing against our books too, to make sure that in case there's any errors on our side too.
I think QuickBooks will probably be what we want, based on what I've read so far and looked into. I've talked to State Board. There's a lot of transactions in the park. We have a camp store, we got, you know, gate up front, we're selling a lot of things. There's a lot that goes into that job. There's a lot of receipts and little things that flow in. So it's a busy one. I think that having a better system will be imperative. They're double entering a lot of things too. So there's a lot of ways to be more efficient. So we're just triaging stuff. Like I said, the gate system, that needed change. That was a multi-100-hour job. I view this as a multi-100-hour job. There's triaging the problems as we go. So now we're at this one. But I cannot do it with the staff I have now.
So do you want a motion on the assistant superintendent position?
It is the office manager.
Oh, office manager.
So it's going to be an hourly position, full-time, just like the one we have now.
Yes,
And then
because Debbie's leaving,
I've been told, I don't want to give a date, I don't
Yeah,
know if I can share
sometime
that
this year.
publicly, but sometime soonish. It would be a straight disaster if she were to leave before someone else has been walked through that job. Again, I don't have the keys to everything
Again.
with that.
I would entertain a motion as soon as the commissioners approve it. That way we don't have to wait another 2 weeks.
Thank you.
And as I said, non-taxpayers' money, he has the money. You know, we just said 10 minutes ago, $200,000 on a matching grant. We're either in or we're not.
I still have a question on that.
Yeah.
Are we gonna actually end up with 2 office managers then, or are we just replacing the one eventually?
As of now, I don't think we need 3. So I
So
think
it's
we'll
just
be
a
2.
replacement of the one a little early, you're saying?
Yeah. Now, there's, you know, there's any number of things, I don't want to say for sure. Like, I don't plan at all to have 3, but, you know, maybe the park is doing huge concerts in a year and a half. Maybe we're moving offices and we want 3 for a while. I don't know. But if you guys want 2, we can run with 2, I think, as long as there's a new system. But as of now, 2 people cannot do that job with the systems we have now within the time frame allotted.
And obviously, you can use Dale anytime you need assistance on your stuff.
But like, you know, hundreds of hours, I can have somebody from the county come fix it all if that's what you prefer. We just can't. So whatever is easier, I wanted to raise the alarm that this needs.
Yeah, those are
I
Dale's
think it
questions.
would be worth doing an efficiency study on some of those processes, just to see what efficiency would come from the technology. There's so many systems in place now where everything's integrated, and I think if they can get those systems, it's gonna eliminate some of those bottlenecks. Look forward to seeing that. Maybe you can update us consistently so we have that information. That way, you know, we know how you're progressing through that process.
With what, like another person, or what does he mean?
Like with your software and how you're reevaluating all your systems, you said
Yeah.
you don't know if you need 3 people,
Oh, I
but
see.
you should be able to gain some efficiencies.
Absolutely, yep.
And so, it would be just nice to have an update periodically on how that process is going.
Sure thing, yeah, no problem.
So I move that we allow for the office assistant position as requested, pending commissioner's approval.
Motion by Darren, second by Mike Sprinkle, all in favor, aye?
Right.
Okay, thank you. And then lastly, there were a couple other changes during that same meeting. So, the park board also notices that certain positions, as I said last time, are having really high turnover. The ones that pay a little bit better, 0 to 1 in a few years. We're having like 5, 6 in these lower paying jobs, and there's really no variance in importance. I think that activity job is like wildly important for the park. And again, you really have to be on point, plan a year ahead. You can't mess up a day. You know, you put an event on the wrong day, just one day off. Like you have 1,000 people show up on the wrong day or book camping, you gotta redo all that. There's opportunity cost to both mess up and cost hundreds of thousands or make extra hundreds of thousands in that job. It's a very important one. Again, we've had, I think, 5 or 6 since I've been there in 3 years, so it's quite brutal on the whole team. We're hoping that a little more money would allow that position to get a dedicated person that doesn't have another side job or maybe will stay or, you know, be really committed. We're also hoping to move that to 58, so that passed the board as well. You guys are open to that. I have a budget for next year. Again, all these extra fees should be superseding extra costs. In particular, the activity director, I view that as a wash. Like anything you're paying them, if they're doing it at all right, should make way more than what that person's making. Other positions, an office manager, it's harder to gain revenue specifically through you, but the activity director, I expect you to book out concerts. I expect you to write grants. I expect you to get fundraising. I expect you to get donations, and all that should absolutely supersede their pay. So we're hoping to do that too.
What you're saying is this is what you're going to present here in a couple of months for the budget for next year?
We were hoping to do it now to kind of, that position's now open. So that person, ours quit. So we're all just scrambling to get all the events done, and we're hoping to raise the pay a little bit because we so far have not been able over and over and over and over again to get someone that will take the nights, weekends, holidays, have the skill set and the dedication to make that run well. So we're hoping to change something because it's clearly not working the way that it is. So either we maybe go down in events, I farm it out, which you won't ever see it, but there's money lost there. If I allow a concert to be ran by another entity, they're going to keep that money. They'll keep 10%. There's a lot of loss there, or I could do it internally. But so far, we're struggling to get someone at those pay rates to do it right.
Is that, when you look at other activity directors doing kind of the same thing, is that in line with what they're being paid?
Well, I think
For locations or?
the main similarity, I would say, would be in the Visitors Bureau position, and yes, they're making 60, so it would be. I think that job is very similar to that, except you're not responsible for multiple employees, a camp store, running events, fundraising, writing grants, doing all those things too. So I fully expect this person to pay their own way, for sure.
So what's your net ask here?
I believe it's an extra $7,360 over the current budget. So going from, where are we at? Director, forgive me here, let me see. So I think we're at 51.5, I believe, on that one. No, I'm sorry, 50,640 to 58. So that's what, $7,360 extra on that one. We're looking for the exact same thing for the customer service manager. That person runs the front gate, so they schedule all of those gate managers at both parks. So both Glendale there, they're responsible for all the money coming in. It's like $1 million. They're responsible for all that staff, making sure all the bookings go well. They've been responsible for helping lead the transfer of systems, making new maps, how we're taking in money. They're doing a really good job. That particular person's graduating with a cybersecurity degree this winter, and I have a suspicion that upon graduation, Crane and so forth, folks are leaving these positions and making way more at Crane. Or I've had multiple people leave out of our office. They're making 90, 100 grand. It's happening over and over and over again. And I know that people like the park. They will work for less at the park. I will do the same. I love it there. But you got to have a livable wage, and I think some of these folks are struggling a little bit at those rates.
So your net request here is $7,360 for each of the two people, which is $14,720 before Benny's.
Correct. I think they're a little bit different. I believe the customer service
yeah.
manager would be $78.91. I think that one was a hair lower. I'll have to look. I got a bunch of paperwork here, but
So your
yes,
request between the two is somewhere around $15,000.
that's correct. Yep. And I could probably cite more ways that we're making.
No,
do it.
that's,
It's already been approved by your board, by the park board?
Oh, yeah. Everything I'm asking you has been through us. And there's been many hours of meetings. There's reasons for all this stuff. They agree. I think a lot of it, there's a new board member, like I said, that had worked for the park. She's bringing a good perspective in, saying like, hey, I've worked here. Like, I get it.
Comment's the same one I've made 3 times, and the same one, you have the money and you plan, you'll have the money. All right. Kind of.
I would move to make those changes in their salaries.
Moved by Mike Sprinkle, second by Marilyn, all in favor, aye.
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 All
All right, I've
opposed?
got one more, that's it. So very similar to those, this is in the hourly rated employees. As you guys may or may not know, we have a lot of contracted services at the park. Let's say, lawyers may be working from 50 an hour to $600 an hour. I've got engineers working for us now. I had one in last night. They're making, over $100 an hour. So we contract services often, same with cleaning and so forth. Sometimes it's better to have folks that are local to be on our hourly pay. They do clock in. I see when they're there. I'm able to contact them when they're in. There's a lot of reasons, for efficiency and just knowing when they're working. I can schedule them better. There's a lot of reasons why that might be advantageous to some people that don't want a 1099. In particular, I would kind of view the grant writing position as really the one I'm talking about here. Right now, I believe it's like $15 to $25 to have kind of a supervisory position, and that's our cap at the park. That grant writer moved back near the area. It's undervalued. We've got a whole list of grant writers that I had interviewed, and anyone with experience was significantly higher than what we're currently paying. There's been some talk now that things are really flowing with that position. There's a lot of work there. I expect as much accuracy as I do out of our lawyers on that. Like, these are $2 million grants, they can't be wrong. Each person on our team has different steps. So Jim, my maintenance manager, might be getting bids for a restroom and working with the construction and figuring out exactly how the plumbing goes. I might be doing bids for another one, and then we send that to the grant writer. She puts together some of the narrative. I work on that, so people need to be absolutely on point. The park board brought up last night that even the number that I'm going to ask for is a little bit low. I think we can get by with $36 an hour tops for that. And I think that would allow us to retain that position. I think if someone were to leave, that'd be pretty difficult on us, because there's a lot of back-end work on a lot of these grants. So that's something, kind of the last thing we wanted to do too, is just kind of help retain high-level positions like that. There's something else that I may consider under that. It would be like, let's say like a land management or specific like logging project for a certain area that we're doing maybe on the other side of the lake before we do some of these lake treatments and stuff. We might have someone come in. In fact, I know someone very local that might not 1099, but we could pay them to do a very specific project, make a ton of money off one project, and then that would be their job. Grant writing is really what I'm interested in now. That's the concern, I think. But again, we're trying to just keep salaries lower than maybe other competitive entities in the area, but keep people retained. So that's sort of what we're after. And again, a lot of these positions are not 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. The park's open 7 days a week, 24/7, and there's 500,000 people and 500,000 problems. So sometimes you're called in randomly, and those things kind of wear on folks over the years. And I think the pay and that have they've told me like, hey, it's hard. I'm not making enough money. I'm driving in all the time, and we're working weird hours. So we've lost a lot of folks that way. So anyway, it would be moving that top end from 25 to 36. And that will also, very similar, be proposed for next year. The budget's done. And again, these people are not full-time. They can only work, an average of 32 hours a year. Sometimes we might not even need them for a whole month. It's just whenever things are needed.
$11 an hour. How many people, how many hours? You got a ballpark what you think that's going to additionally cost you?
I don't know, because I can't anticipate how many grants are going to be open to us over the year. So I really couldn't tell you. I view them as, a small, put it this way, I think we've taken in close to $1 million or more in 3 years for grants. That's not a huge effort of my time. So obviously, whatever effort we put into that has been the largest ROI of anything we're doing. So any grant that we're missing because our staff can't get it done is a potential loss of millions or hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands or anything like that. So I think it is, as you guys want us to run on our own with no regular tax money, that is the only way this park can succeed or even sustain itself, is a steady, very organized grant calendar each year. And I do have that, Tony, but I don't have it in front of me. We do have a grant calendar. But I can't speculate how many hours would be for each one. But I would, very similar to the activity director, say that if that job isn't paying for itself, many times over, they're doing it wrong and shouldn't work there. Same with me. If I'm losing you money, that's not really what you're after.
Questions, comments here?
Again, it's their money.
I'm sorry?
It's their money that they're, and if he feels he can afford to do that,
Was that a motion?
yeah, I'll make that.
I'll second.
Motion by Darren, second by Mike Myers, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. And use your guys' mind a little bit. I did have somewhere here, kind of a rundown of the labor that we've spent over the years. To put it in perspective, back in '21, they spent $281,000. Last year, we only spent $215,000. So last year, I think we went low on purpose. I was trying to save money for grants and stuff, so maybe we should be a little higher than that, but it can certainly be done. I think I saved 50% operating costs at Glendale, so it can be done.
How's the lake quality, water quality?
It's okay. There's some frustrations, honestly. The lake treatment's certainly helping. It's incredibly efficient the way we're doing it. There's a lake, it's kind of shaped like a V, the lake. There's a few tributaries that run in, and it only runs out the dam on one side. So we're in all the headwaters now and literally dumping tanker trucks straight out of the tanker. So it's extremely efficient. We can empty a whole 3,500-gallon tanker in just a few minutes, and it goes straight into that creek that goes in. The issue is Shern Creek and West Boggs Creek have had neighbors do very detrimental things. So people have dug out ditches, like 1-to-1 ratio, which means straight, and then that bank sloughs off, and then all that sediment comes in, and then we're paying to dredge that back out. In addition to that, all that sediment produces phosphorus that goes in the lake. So right now we're seeing rivers of green in like West Boggs Creek and Shern Creek just flowing into the lake that we're treating. So the lake itself is better. We haven't had a fish kill. The blue-green's lower, but there's so much pollution streaming in each rain that it's nearly impossible to get the clean water to come in cleaner. If we dredge the basins, though, I can at least have that sediment caught in those basins, cleaned, and then it'll go into the lake. That could be a presentation for another time, but the engineer was at our board last night, and it's interesting. I like him. We're able to put a lot of it on local farms right now, so we need to take advantage of that, but grants are only $100,000. I don't know where to find money for this. Like, the DNR only allows a max of 100, and that just doesn't get us where we need to be. Even the one basin's over $3 million. That's by far the cheapest number I've heard. The other one, though, just since you're asking, I would recommend you guys go check it out at some point. The small sediment basin off of 1200 East, that's the one you can see from the road on the left side. That one's filling in really fast. So it is about twice as expensive to dredge something that's full than when it has water in it. So you can drive a boat and suck it all up. Essentially, the county or whoever pays for this has lost $3 million by not doing the other one 15 years ago. They were designed, like the engineer helped design these that I'm working with, they were designed to be dredged out every 15 years. Now we're at 30-some, now it's twice as expensive. So it needs to be in the maintenance plan.
Is that on the west side of the St. Mary's Road?
Mm-hmm. Yep, and that is darn near full. So just a couple feet deep. So we got a little time, but it's, if we wait for that to get full, then it's way more. And these things aren't really optional, I don't think. The way they design the lake, it kind of has to be done. So overall, I think it's going well. I mean, it's certainly helping. A lot of the areas are cleaner. Again, the fishing's great. But to say that we can clean the areas that have heavy inflow is not really possible.
Any other questions for Nathan? Very good, thank you.
Excellent, guys. Thank you. I appreciate all your help.
Thanks.
Nathan.
That's that BZA board appointment we tabled the last time. This time we have a nominee of Ryan Dashner.
Get hold of me.
Okay, thanks, Nick. Look for a motion to.
Motion to approve?
Motion approved by Marilyn.
Second.
Second, Mike Sprinkle, all in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. BCH board appointments. Wrong paper.
Tony, is that, the doctor listed, the third one there, is he a hospital employee?
Yes. Dr. Susick?
Are we sure he's eligible? We did this several years ago, and maybe Mike and I were the only ones on here at the time. They nominated a doctor, I won't say the name, but a doctor who was a hospital employee, and then they came back the next month and said that he was not eligible because he was a hospital employee.
He is because of the management service of the ER. The ER physicians are in a group, so not necessarily employed by the hospital. The group
Okay.
is employed by the hospital. Something different from the way it was many years ago in Washington. These are all EN board certified. He's extremely sharp. He's very good, but he can be because
Okay.
of how their employment is with the hospital.
Same thing with Jackie a few years ago when she was on here, and we
Years ago.
appointed her because she was an
Correct.
independent contractor. Okay, I just wanted to question that, because several years ago, we had to redo that one appointment the next month. So, yeah, okay, I'm fine with that. I got no problem. I just want to be sure that we were good to do that, so. Okay.
Yes. So basically, there's a new nomination of Jeff Owens, a renewal of Peter Parsons, Otto Susick, and some guy named Tony. So,
Move to approve the recommendations for the Board of Governors appointments.
move to approve by
Second.
Tom, second by Mike Myers, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Pose, sorry, Matt, pose same sign. Next up, we have a few additional expenditures. County Commissioners, $23,050 for the mental health. And Pettit Jurors, $15,000 Circuit Court.
I just want to come over and see if you have questions. I also wanted to introduce Brody Chestnut, he's in. We've gotten to a situation where obviously jury trials cost money, they're costing more because the legislature decided, to raise jury fees and pay, which was great because it was long overdue, except they don't put any money behind it, it still comes out of the county. The last couple trials we've had have run over, each one of them's run over 5,000, 6,000, just for jury fees and mileage. So that's, shows you one thing, we're moving things, we're getting trials done. Both courts are operating heavy, and our referee position is jumping in and doing some of the administrative parts and the initial hearings and the bond hearings and the pretrials, so that keeps things flowing. And having 2 courtrooms with 2 jury rooms makes the system work a lot better, and we're working through the backlog that we've got because of conflict situations and making some good progress on that, but it's just what we had in the jury fund that we put in our budget each year. So we transferred some money around to pay this last jury we did a couple weeks ago, and estimating, we have a jury in circuit court, and Superior does too. We have a jury week every month, so we'll have 8, 10 stacked up, and we get with the prosecutor's office and the attorneys and pick them in order. These are the first settings. This one's going to go. Obviously, if they're in jail, they get priority over someone who's out on bond. So we pick them in a priority situation like that. And we've got them, well, we just set one yesterday for a first setting in circuit court on a criminal jury trials now into August 2027. Civil cases, unfortunately, are getting set into 2028 and almost 2020. But that's, and we're trying to get these, you have to give, criminal cases get priority, they gotta move quicker. There's Rule 4 motions if you don't get somebody to trial in time. So, that's all I had. I just want to make sure that you knew what the request was about and what was going on, and if you had any questions about it. That's for getting us like to the end of the year, estimating. And here's what happens. It's like just this week, I'm able to be here because we're supposed to be doing a jury trial. In fact, one of our commissioners was called in for jury duty, and he was getting worried about that the other day, but they pled out on Friday. Superior Court had one too, and I think they pled out, so that freed up that time, and I was able to come over just to say hi and see if you had questions.
Questions for the judge?
So obviously, if you're using a whole lot more this year, from a budget standpoint for next year, we think, given what you said a while ago about scheduling these all out and trying to make up on the backlog, think you'll, would potentially right off the bat, have a higher
Yeah.
budget for next year.
Yeah, I will. And I'm gonna try to get it where I'm gonna assume things like this happen. You have your first trial setting, somebody pleads out last minute, don't have that money, so I won't be going, 12 or more all the time, but I'll try to keep it in that. But it's spending $5,000. Some of those are because of the nature of the case. For example, sex offenses require more jurors being called in. We have special questionnaires, and you have to do individual voir dire because some people have things they have to disclose that happen to them that make them be a good juror for that kind of case. And that takes a little longer, and it takes more people coming in, and we still have to pay the people that come in, even if they're excused.
Entertain a motion to approve both of those at the same time, the mental health and circuit court 15,000.
So moved.
Moved Mike Myers,
Second.
second Tom, all in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, the same sign. Thank you.
So thank you.
Thanks, Judge.
Two additional ones, and then the capital improvements fund we've talked about on the rainy day fund from the North Davis Assad grant. They presented again at Commissioners. Motion to approve that.
So moved.
So moved by Tom, second by Mike Sprinkle, all in favor, aye.
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 Last, I don't know if Mike Sprinkle wants to talk about this. This is the $606,000 from the BPC TIF for the fire equipment, which is all new uniform setups, whatever. Mike was on that committee.
Yeah, there's, some departments were still using equipment that was outdated and didn't have, more updated extraction equipment and things. And, through the blessing of the RDC and GPC, TIF, the folks at GPC, and the commissioners, were able to, purchase some equipment to get these guys up to date. And, the total, I mean, the uniforms are, and those air masks are just unreal, the cost on them. But somebody's house is burning, you want these guys to have the proper equipment whenever they're doing these things. But, and anyway, this is gonna catch up a lot of the need that a lot of volunteer fire departments needed to have proper, equipment. And most of it is their, personal equipment that they need on this cost. Some of it is extrication equipment that was outdated that need to be updated, but most of it's PPE equipment. So I'm really thankful that this is being done. Most of these guys don't get paid, but when your house is on fire, you make that call, they're gonna show up. So it's a good project.
Agree. It's been in the works for a long time too, so it's a long time coming.
And I'll make that motion.
I have a question.
Okay.
I haven't followed all this thing, I haven't been on the committee, but I've heard some rumblings around about it. And was this kind of, the county getting involved in the purchase of equipment, was it contingent on actually forming the fire districts? And where, if it is, where are we at in getting those done? My fear is, hey, we put the money out there and nothing really changes on the fire district thing. So can you update us on that?
So where this money is being spent, it will be Central Fire, which will be Bar Township, Montgomery, and Cannelberg, and it'll be renamed Central Fire District. And then there's gonna be the Northwest Fire District, which will be Plainville, Elnora, Bogard, Steele, and Elmore Township. We've got commitments from all of them. Two of those boards are meeting this month, and what I've been told is they are going to commit to the fire districts. So to answer your question, yes, most of this money is being spent in the newly formed fire district areas. Yep.
But not on the ones that don't want to form fire districts.
That was a stipulation one commissioner has kind of stuck to on that. But it's well needed. I mean, what, the folks that are getting this, these items are really needed.
Answer the question that wasn't asked. You can only do what you can do. And this is, all right, motion to approve that $606,000 was made by Mike.
Yeah, I'll make that.
Do I do that? No. Second. We already did that motion.
Hey, Tony,
Yes.
I'm going to abstain from this with my position on the RDC board.
Okay. Motion by Mike, second by Marilyn, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Hold same sign, Matt abstain. You get fooled because when I came in here today with the agenda, I thought this would be a short one. So any questions from anybody in the audience? Anybody here? We are adjourned. Thanks, Matt.
Have a good day, everybody.
Matt.
Yep.
See ya.
Have a great day, guys. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Oh, motion to adjourn was by everybody. Which one you want? Darren and Mike.
It was everybody.
Hands everywhere.